Hi everybody, it is Carolina here on a Saturday evening, and it's time for Cooking with Carolina for the Oak Bluffs Public Library. This program is sponsored by the Library Friends of Oak Bluffs, who always accept donations, so visit the Oak Bluffs Library website and click on Library Friends and shoot them some money. That would be great. Tonight, what we are making is a turnip greens and potato frittata. That's just a fun word to say, isn't it? Frittata. I like it. So, first off, we are going to preheat our oven to 375. Okay. Next, we need 2 cups of potatoes. Kind of guess how many potatoes would make 2 cups. That's probably a little too many, but that's okay. So we'll rinse those off. And dry them off just a little. Alright, now it's up to you. If you don't like to have skin on your potato, you can peel them, but I like skin, so I'm going to keep the skin on and just dice them up. And think about how these are going to be in a frittata. So you do want them to be pretty small dice. I'll probably go another round here with them, because you want them to be bite-sized in your frittata. I feel like I figure out the best way to dice them when I'm almost done. You figure out that special combination of moves to make them the right size. So 4 times that way, 2 times this way, and then they come out a pretty nice small size. Ooh, now this is a big guy. And you can use whatever kind of potato you want here. I think a lot of different kinds would be tasty. These are just some pretty basic white potatoes. But you could use red potatoes or Yukon Gold. Even a baked potato, really kind of whatever you have. Gets an extra slice. I don't know, this looks like it might be enough potatoes after just this, the rest of this big one. We'll do a little measuring. So this big guy I'm cutting into fifths. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. Show me what you're working with. Okay, so there is the amount of potatoes we have at the moment. I'm going to grab a cup measurement just so we can be specific. And because I'm curious how much 2 cups would really look like. Oh yeah, we're well over 2 cups here. We are totally fine. So, you really only need a couple of potatoes to make it to 2 cups. I'm just going to go in and chop some of the pieces I see in there that might be a little bigger than I really want them to be. And of course you do kind of want to try to make them uniform so they cook nice and evenly. Alright, that's good enough. Now, we will turn on our burner here to about a medium. Right about a medium. And we're going to put about 4 tablespoons butter in, which is probably about, actually that is exactly what this is because this is half a stick of butter and a whole stick is 8 tablespoons. So, whoop. Not a small amount of butter, but you know, it's for a whole frittata. Gotta have the flavor. Now, we'll wait till this is melted in here. Swirl it all around. Yeah, that's a lot of butter. Much more than I would normally cook with. But I'm following a recipe, so I try to do what the recipe says. Maybe it knows more than me. Though I doubt it. So I am using a cast iron pan because this will end up going into the oven. You also could use a non-stick pan that is oven safe. You do want to use something that's non-stick since you're cooking eggs. Okay, we have our big pool of butter here. And even though it's more than 2 cups, I'm gonna just put in all the potatoes, because why not? And you know those potatoes are gonna suck that butter right up, so they're gonna be tasty. So we'll kind of put them in there and let them cook where they are for a few minutes. And while we're doing that, we can scramble our eggs. So the reason that I chose to make a frittata is because I have 3 chickens, and last week I got about 40 eggs out of the coop. I don't know how they're making so many eggs, but I must have missed a few days, and now I have a ridiculous amount of eggs to cook. So this uses 10 eggs. I've been giving some eggs away. We made French toast already. I don't know what else to do. I was thinking about actually making some pickled eggs. I like pickled eggs. And then I could make deviled eggs. Uh-oh, I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And we will get a little milk, about 1/4 of a cup, to add to this. Which, if you want, you can measure. I just eyeball. I guess. Close enough. I measure for baking. Okay, and we'll just set those aside for now. Let's add some salt and pepper to these potatoes. And you can also you can par cook the potatoes and use those, and then just kind of fry them up like you would a home fry. If you use raw potatoes, you do need to cook them a little longer. And you do want to kind of let them sit and cook on one side. You don't want to be stirring them all the time. So, In the meantime, we can measure out our greens that we'll be adding. Now, the original recipe called for turnip greens, but my little market didn't have any turnip greens, so I have this lovely, spicy field green mix with even some beautiful flowers, so hey, it'll be so pretty. So we're going to measure out 4 cups of these, well packed. And you don't have to use the flowers. Well, if you get a field green mix with flowers, you could take those out. But I'm going to keep them in there because I'm curious what it's going to taste like. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you know what, I'm going to save a flower or 2 for my salad. So that can look pretty too. Okay, now we do want to chop this up. So let's grab another bowl. And make some space. Not the easiest thing to do sometimes. And let's give our potatoes a little stir. Alright, looking good. And put the eggs on the other side of the counter. Okay, now we'll chop some greens. And so for that, I just kind of bunch them up real tightly, kind of roll them. And pinch them together while you chop. Wow, 4 cups seems like a lot of greens, doesn't it? This is going to be so healthy. It'll offset all the butter. And I guess eggs. So I don't know what they're saying. I'm not sure if eggs are deemed healthy or unhealthy at this point in time. It seems to go through phases. I remember at one point they were unhealthy and you weren't supposed to eat eggs anymore. I think they're back to being healthy though, luckily. My healthy cooking philosophy is pretty much whole foods. That is what I prefer. So I don't like to use margarine. No fake stuff. Oh, that was in the wrong one. I distracted myself. My healthy foods talk. That's okay. Let's check on these potatoes. Oh yeah, we're starting to crisp up now. That's what I like to see. All right, looking good there. One more bunch of greens to chop. So this is nice because while the potatoes are cooking, you can be scrambling up your eggs and chopping your greens. Okay, those are some beauteous chopped greens. So excited. Now, we need to slice up some garlic. So we will use 2 cloves of garlic, sliced. We have to check on these potatoes a little more often now. Always lose one. Okay, we're almost there with these potatoes, so. Almost, but not quite. So let's slice our garlic. For my smaller knife with that. The detail work. So we'll cut off the little hard end. Mine has a little browning on it. Cut that off. Then I'm going to slice it in half. And I like to go in and remove if there's a root growing. If you remove that, it makes for a better garlic flavor. And rumor has it that it also prevents garlic breath. Which I kind of like garlic breath, I don't mind it, but if it bothers you, you can test out the theory. So I'm just slicing this into little pieces. Okay, that is ready there. I would say we're pretty good here with our potatoes. Now we want to add the turnip greens in with the potatoes and combine those until they wilt. So at this point we still have our burner on medium. You definitely want to use a 12-inch skillet. Oh, it is very pretty. It's like aphrodisiac. Oh, this is looking quite lovely. Okay, now we'll add in our garlic for about another minute. Mix that around. Ooh, it's getting hot up in here. Okay. And let's spread this sort of evenly around. A nice even layer. I'm actually going to turn this off. Because what we're about to do now is to pour the egg in. Fantastic. Now, the kicker is the goat cheese. Oh yes. Let me get my scissors. And this calls for 2 ounces of goat cheese. Let's see, this is 8 ounces. Okay, well, plenty of goat cheese left over. And this we're going to take and just sort of crumble over the top as crumbly as we can. Mine's a little melty from being on the counter. You might want to keep yours in the refrigerator until it's time. That might make it a little easier to crumble. But it's doing just fine. Okay, I would say that's pretty darn good. I'm going to wash my hands. And now we want to very carefully put this into the oven and bake it for about 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, so while you're waiting for that to bake, you could like make a little salad that you could serve on the side. That would be lovely. Or you can just relax a little bit and wait for it to cook. Then once it comes out of the oven, you'll let it cool just a bit. Flip it over to release it from the pan and then cut it into wedges to serve. So that's it for today. That was our frittata. I had to say it one more time. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you come again next week. Thanks. Bye.